Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, please do so, along with hitting that thumbs up button for me and definitely dropping your comments. Want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks. All right, well, welcome to playoff breakdown episode number 4 for round 1, the Knicks versus the Detroit Pistons. They played last night. I did a recap for that. I went live. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely check it out. But I wanted to come on and talk a little more, get a little more inside the numbers and see what's going on. What's going on with this team? Why are they 1-1? What happened yesterday? Where are the pitfalls? Where are the things that they could lean into to help take control back of this series? Are the Knicks in danger? Are we getting too much just ISO Brunson? Those are questions that we have to answer, and we're going to get into it. Let's go. First thing, though, I do want to talk about is the refereeing in the game. I do believe that the refereeing had a huge impact in this game. If you can see here, this is Thibs himself saying if Cunningham's driving and there's marginal contact and he's getting to the line, then Jalen deserves to be getting to the line. It's really that simple. And he's right about that. Absolutely that simple. You could see Brunson many times, even the ESPN commentator, I forgot who it was, even called out that, oh my God, look at Brunson. He's all scratched up. His face is red. His left cheek, like he had gotten hit hard or punched in the cheek or whatever. That was in the fourth quarter. And he was getting beat up tremendously, but he wasn't getting those calls. There were many times where Brunson was frustrated. And in the end, that frustration is counterproductive for the team itself. But it's hard not to get frustrated when you should be getting called and you're getting ticky-tack calls on the other end. Then you look at stuff like this. Mill Media tweeted this out. Refs on their BS again, because how is this a foul? This is Schroeder just flopping, just diving onto the floor. They called a foul on OG right there. I mean, that kind of shit, you have to clean that up, NBA and the refs. Then you look over here, no call here. I watched this several times, this play. This was the big dunk that Hart made to tie the game late with about like a minute left or something. And Duran came in. He didn't hit Hart's arm or anything, but his chest slammed into Hart. That is a foul any day of the week. Playoffs, preseason, whatever it is, regular season, that's a foul. No call. And how can that be no call? There's a ump right there, a referee right there, and another referee on the other side. Totally missed it. Now, am I implying that the NBA got together and discussed being a little less lenient with the Knicks and more lenient with the Detroit Pistons? I'm not saying that, but it sure looks like it. It sure does look like it. All right, before we get to this, now I want to show you something else to even to bring this whole fouls thing down into the gutter here, to show you guys what I'm talking about. These are the total personal fouls called in both games. Okay, the Detroit Pistons had 45 personal fouls called against them. That's the most so far. Now again, this is, some teams have played 2 games, some teams have only played 1. So that's not what's important. What's important is comparing it to the Knicks. The Knicks have been called for 43 personal fouls in both games combined. But when you look at the actual free throw attempts, look at this disparity. An 18 free throw attempt disparity in over 2 games. You're giving the Detroit Pistons 18 more opportunities to go to the free throw line than the New York Knicks. But meanwhile, you call the same amount of fouls. The oddest thing as well, in last night's game, the Knicks actually got the Detroit Pistons into the bonus early. So you would have thought that the foul calling, the free throw attempts would have been more in the favor of the Knicks. I mean, even Oscar Thompson fouled out. But no. So the question is, how is this happening? Is it now that comes back to the issue with Cunningham and Brunson, the way they're being treated? Because in the fourth quarter, we all know, if we watch the game, Brunson, it became very ISO heavy, incredibly ISO heavy. So if the ball's in his hands and he's going to the hoop and he's not getting the foul calls, he's not getting the and one, but Cade is on the other end, that's where you get your disparity here in your free throw attempts. This is something that has to be eradicated, even with the Knicks shooting 86% from the free throw line and the Pistons almost at 80% themselves. They have been able to get an additional 12 points. Those are real points, especially for two teams that were struggling for the three-point line, struggling to make buckets in general. That the free throw line disparity could be this great is just unacceptable. That is something that has to be fixed. But I will say this. I do feel like, especially when you watch the game, that guys like Hart, McHale, Cat, even Brunson to some extent, are fouling guys when they shouldn't. They need to be moving their feet, not grabbing. And that making really stupid fouls. So there is an abundance of unnecessary fouls being committed by the Knicks players, but at the same time, they're not getting the calls they should be getting on the other end. So that's where you're getting this it's lopsided. It's very lopsided. And the other thing that is very lopsided in this situation, just comparing the two teams, is the rebound situation. Rebounding is completely upside down right now. When you go to compare the two teams here are the total rebounds. Rebounds per game. Actually, let's go to totals. Just do it as totals. So the Detroit Pistons are number 2 right now in the entire playoffs with 85 total rebounds. The Knicks have 70. 15 less than the Detroit Pistons. And that is one of the major reasons why the Knicks are losing these games right now. They are just not getting enough rebounds, enough second chance opportunities. A lot of that could be not enough Mitch Robinson minutes. A lot of that is just guys out of position when the ball is going up, not tracking the flight of the ball. It's also, Cat is a good rebounder, but he's not the hungriest rebounder. And by that, I mean, like, he's not all over the court just trying to grab every single rebound there is. He gets the ones that are in his area. He is 7 feet tall and got a big body, so he's able to clear out space for himself to get rebounds, and he's a very good rebounder that way. But he's not, he's not like an electric rebounder. Like, he doesn't just immediately just grab every rebound there is, where Mitch is more like that, but he hasn't played enough minutes. So here we go. This is one of the major disparities right here between the two teams right now. And so then when you combine that with the free throws, which the Pistons are number 1 in free throw attempts, 54, and the Knicks are only 36 right here. Remember, these are teams that have played 2 games, so there's other teams here. Like Houston Rockets went to the free throw line 20 times in their 1 game. That's not that many. But so there's a lot of fouling going on in both of these games, for both of these teams, the Knicks and the Pistons. But the disparity is just alarming. It is alarming right now. All right, let's get back to this. Okay. So, now I want to talk about the passing. The passing here. Tommy Beer tweeted this out. Great tweet. Over the first 2 games of this series, Brunson has passed the ball to Towns a total of 12 times. Total. The whole series. Per NBA tracking data, passes from Brunson to each teammate. Passes to Bridges, 38. Passes to Hart, 32. Passes to Cat, 12. So this is why Cat only had 3 shot attempts in the second half last night and 0 in the fourth quarter. That is utterly unacceptable. That just cannot happen. You have one of the best big shooters in the history of the game, and you are not going to your strength. Why did you trade for him then? What was the point of bringing him here if you're going to waste his talents on the court? The narrator. This is from Tommy Beer as well. The Knicks did not feed Cat. And this is his take here. Inexplicable, inexcusable that a $50 million All-NBA offensive force and arguably the greatest shooting big man of all time doesn't get a single shot attempt over the final 18 minutes of the most important game of the season. Now, and down there you can see Cat was 4 of 5 from the floor when defended by Tobias Harris in Game 1. New York scored 17 points off Towns' post-ups in Game 1. None of that was in Game 2. Now you're going to say, was that the defensive scheme from the Pistons? Was it Jalen Duren just coming out and sticking to Cat the entire time they're on the floor? It's not, because often Duren is on Josh Hart. When Josh Hart is on the floor, Cat's on the floor. And Cat's on the floor, Duren is guarding Josh Hart. So that is not the excuse. Partly it is there was 0 pick and pops. Zero. A tremendous weapon for this team completely went away from. And the reason I'm bringing all this stuff up is to answer the question, the 2 questions down there. Are Knicks in danger, and is it too much ISO Brunson? The answer to the second question is yes. Way too much ISO Brunson. Not enough passing, not enough sharing the ball, not enough movement of the players. And when the players are moving, sometimes they're colliding into each other and taking each other's space or path to the basket. That stuff has to be cleaned up. It's surprising that it's happening in the 84th game of the season, but it's correctable. It's very correctable. And that's really the whole point of this. These issues are correctable. And then it answers the second one. Are the Knicks in danger? If this continues, of course they are. But since it is correctable, more passing, more rebounding, more ball movement, more player movement, and more three-point attempts, then yes, the New York Knicks are not in danger, is the answer to that question. Because even when you come back to here, three-point attempts, the Knicks have 61 three-point attempts. That's not great. You want to be 30. You want to average 38. This is total, by the way. This is totals. You want to be 38, so that's 76. So we should be up here. But you know, in the playoffs, you're gonna those kind of numbers are going to come down a bit. But right now, Knicks are averaging 30.5 three-point attempts. Not going to cut it. The Pistons are averaging 59. So that's a good thing that the Knicks have limited three-point attempts by the Pistons, but it's not good that they're not taking enough three-point attempts on their own end. And the Knicks are shooting, Pistons are shooting well, 39% from the three-point line. Knicks are shooting 32.8%. So that is also killing us. They got to start making their buckets. Sometimes, I mean, when you saw Mikal Bridges in late in the game, it was a big bucket. It could have tied the game again. And he just rushed it. He came around the curl, top of the arc. He caught the pass from Brunson, who was a desperation pass, by the way, because, again, he was forcing it. He issued. He definitely did not find his open teammates out beyond the arc in the fourth quarter, especially most of the game, I would say, but especially in the fourth quarter. And then you had Mikal, who does get a clean look, but he rushes it. He wasn't set. His feet were like dangling to one side, and then it clanked. It wasn't a good shot attempt. That's something that can be corrected once again. Let's get back to this. All right. Now we're going to look at something else. We're going to look at fourth quarter stats, which is also another reason why I don't think the Knicks are in danger. I do think the Knicks have enough, more than enough. They definitely have more than enough. But even with correcting some of these little issues, for one, being more efficient in timeout plays, inbounding the ball after a timeout, that has to improve. I saw it improve a little bit. I saw some improvement in game 2, but that definitely has a lot of improvement that can happen there. But when you look at here's the offensive rating for the fourth quarter. Now, this does include the magical 21-0 run from Game 1, but the Knicks also won that fourth quarter in last night's game as well. The Knicks have a 128.8 offensive rating. That is points scored per 100 possessions. They're averaging 128.8 in the fourth quarter. Only one better is the Cavs, 154, but that's only one game. The Cavs play, or is that 2 games? No, it is only one game. And the Pistons' offensive rating in the fourth quarter, they have a 90.2. So they're getting destroyed, and the Knicks' defense is stifling them. Look at the Knicks' defense, 90.2 defensive rating compared to the Pistons' 128.8. Obviously, because they're facing each other, you have the identical rating numbers. They're just flip-flopped. Then you look at the net rating, and the net rating, the Knicks are just owning that fourth quarter, 38.7. So crunch time, they're owning that. Now, of course, the Knicks went on several runs last night to get back into this game, to go all the way from down 15 points kind of late in the third quarter to actually tying the game with a minute and change left in the game. You expend a lot of energy doing that. The idea is to be the type of team you are in the fourth quarter, bring that up to the first quarter. Let's see that intensity. Let's see that defensive intensity that we see from Cat. I will say he has been impactful in those fourth quarters. Both in the 21-0 run, Cat had 2 steals during that run. And then last night, he played some good defense in the fourth quarter as well. So they have it in them. It's not like they're being outplayed for the game and the Knicks have no answers. No, they've come up with answers both times in the fourth quarter. Just last night, it was too much iso ball. So when they made the run, it was all basically on one guy's shoulders, which he did it to himself and the coach as well, Brunson, and he didn't incorporate Cat, basically. You know, you have an all-NBA center who can shoot, a power forward, whatever. He's an amazing shooter. He can even drive to the basket, and you don't utilize him. That's a mistake of leadership on Brunson's end and Coach Tom Thibodeau's end. Now I'm going to show you what I found very, very shocking. These are the numbers, the differentials for when a player is on the court and off the court in these playoffs against the Detroit Pistons. Karl Anthony Towns, when he's on the court, the team is a plus 8.1. So the team outscores the Pistons by 8 points or more. No matter who's on the court with him, they outscore. When he's off the court, the team gets outscored by 8.1 points. That is a 16.2 point swing. So Cat being on the court as opposed to being off the court is worth 16.2 points in total. Brunson, when he's on the court, the Knicks are plus 3.2. When he's off the court, the Knicks are plus 11.5. That means overall, the Knicks are better when he's not playing by 8.3 points per game. Per 100 possessions. This is the differential here. That is a shocking number. So that right there should tell you you need to deviate away from ISO Brunson if you want to have a winning formula in the playoffs. Of course, you're going to need his clutchness. It's going to come to moments like that. But when that is the steady diet, when that's all you've got as your answer, it's going to be not a good result. But when you look at Mikal Bridges, this is the most shocking number in from my point of view. When he's on the court, no matter who he's with, remember he's a starter, the Knicks lose by 7 points. So when he's on the court, they lose by 7 points. When he's off the court, the Knicks are dominating by 31 points. Now, this includes the 21-0 run in game one. So there is a lot of variance because it's only 2 games. But when you count that in, I mean, they were able to go on that run without him on the court. So it does matter. And then the total swing is 38.3 points. That is wild. That is a crazy number. Now, do I think Mikal Bridges is that level of a player? Ineffective? No. So I think that is a great area of improvement as well, because also he will benefit from the ball being in his hands more than Brunson. Than if it's always in Brunson's hand, especially in that second half or just the whole game. Just get the ball more in Mikal's hands, because we saw how effective he can be. We saw how he was during that stretch when Brunson was injured. He missed those 15 games. So we have basically, when you look at this, you can see we have deviated from what has worked for the team for the majority of the season. And that is ball sharing. It's having Brunson play more off ball, because he's a fantastic catch and shoot shooter, especially from the 3-point line. Outstanding, but it's hard to catch and shoot if the ball is always in your hands. So that when you look at these numbers, you can see how you can correct it. Because then when you look at OG, who he doesn't need the ball in his hands as much, but definitely he should get the ball in his hands more as well, because Demon OG has been absent since Jalen Brunson has returned. And he went on an incredible run. It was like 10 games in a row of 20 points or more, or something like that, at tremendous efficiency. All that has gone away, but because of his defensive ability. Incredible, but he was fabulous yesterday for long stretches. He did get burned here and there. You're going to get burnt. You know, Cade made some great shots, some tough shots. It's going to happen. That's why he is going to be an all-NBA guy. Or this season, I'm telling you that. But when OG's on the court, the Knicks are a plus 5.8. When he's off the court, they're a minus 16.7. That is the biggest swing in terms of negative numbers when he's off the court of any of the other players on this chart here. That is a total of a 22.5 point swing from off the court to on the court. So he's good. He's a plus 22.5 for your team. So he's got to be on the court, obviously. Then the other surprising one was Josh Hart, because I have felt that he was too passive in the first couple of quarters of both games, not making an impact. He's passing up shots. He is not an offensive threat when he's out there. He doesn't have enough gravity to create space for others when he's out there. But look at the numbers. On the court, almost a plus 11. When he's off the court, the Knicks are a minus 13.2. That's a 24-point swing, bigger than the OG Anunoby swing. So we do need more Josh Hart on the court. However, we need him to be more aggressive offensively. His defense, I mean, the numbers don't lie. His defense obviously has been good, but it could be a lot better. So there is a good area of improvement right there. And he can improve by just being more aggressive offensively, meaning when a ball comes your way and you're out there beyond the 3-point arc and you're open, shoot it. Just shoot it. Stop trying to drive in to the teeth of the defense and get your shot blocked. Stop doing that. And also, when you drive, look for guys that are open on the wings. We need more open 3-point shots. We are not getting enough of those at all, because that will help Mikal. That'll help OG. It'll help Towns get some looks. So if you're driving, and Josh Hart is one of the few Knicks who can get to the hoop, into the restricted paint area off the dribble, but he's got to. I would rather him, even though if he's got his guy beat, go all the way. But if he feels any kind of resistance, don't try to do your herky jerky madness. Just find the guy who's open out beyond the arc, and if find a guy who's open, maybe that ball will swing around and find a great shot on the other side. So then you look at Miles McBride. who definitely has not been the best version of himself in the playoffs so far. I don't have Campaign on here because he barely played yesterday and he had an incredible game one. So it's hard to really, in the numbers, it's just so skewed. So we know that he can have an impact when he's making buckets. That's for sure. And he didn't play enough in the second half. Shamet didn't play. Actually, I don't think he played in the second half. Shamet didn't play in the second half. So then you're also burning your guys out because these are high-intensity games. But yet, the Knicks still had enough in the fourth quarter to come and tie this game late. So that's a good sign. So he's basically almost even. When he's on the court, he's a plus 3.5. When he's off, the team's a plus 3.8. So they actually are a little bit better when he's off the court, but it's really marginal. Pretty much of a wash. And that's what you want, at least from your first guy or second guy off the bench. And speaking of off the bench, Mitch Robinson. This was a bummer to see. When he's on the court, the Knicks they lose by 6.5 points. When he's off the court, the Knicks are up by 11.2 points, and that's a 17.7 swing. So he has not been impacting the game enough on both sides, whether it's defensively or offensively. He has not put enough. He just hasn't done enough. And partly, maybe he hasn't had enough time with Cat to figure out that double big lineup. Because when you look at the numbers, the double big lineup also hasn't been that effective itself. One thing I want to pull up here are there we go. Let's go back to this. Okay, so these are, here's the defensive rating numbers for the whole team. Payne's a great defensive rating, 82.1, but again, that was that first, that run, the 21-0 run. That's going to definitely help your numbers. Josh Hart, 101.4, Anunoby, 105.6. These are all fantastic numbers, but look at Mitch, 106.4. So defensively, he's definitely doing his job, but offensively, the team is just not capitalizing on his size and agility. No lobs. I have not seen one single lob pass to Mitch. If I were coaching this team, or if I were a player on this team, I would make sure that Mitch got at least 4 or 5 lob attempts, alley-oops, every single game. Plus, it electrifies the crowd, it electrifies the team itself, and they're easy buckets. And he's fantastic at finishing around the hoop on alley-oops. We haven't seen one. So, no three-point shots for Cat in the fourth quarter. In the second half, let's just put it that way. But in the fourth quarter, 0 shot attempts for Cat, 0 three-point shot attempts for Cat, 0 lobs, alley-oops for Mitch. These are all these are all the things you have a competitive advantage on, and you're not doing them. What you're doing is feeding Brunson. You're feeding Brunson tremendously. Well, Brunson is a minus 1.2 in net rating. 1.9, sorry, 1.9 in net rating. So, and then look at Mitch. Mikal Bridges, a minus 13.1. Wow. But Hart has been, according to this, the best starter on the Knicks in terms of net rating so far. That is wild. All right. That's it. That is today's video, breaking this down. So the Knicks have very easy areas that they can turn to increase their scoring because they need more offense. The defense has actually been very good. They held the Detroit Pistons to 100 points yesterday. Some people were saying, oh, they were Pistons were just missing shots. They weren't just missing shots. The Knicks were playing better defense on them. They just didn't go to their strengths. They leaned into their one of their big competitive advantages, which is Brunson in his ISO play. But when he's not getting the foul calls, then that is not as fruitful for the team in the end. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Please subscribe, hit the thumbs up button for me, drop your comments, and I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. And I'm not worried. Not worried at all.